Hey guys, we're going to be writing the Russian alphabet, and the whole purpose of why I was gone, like for some days, because I was very busy yesterday and the day before yesterday, and I was really busy last week, and I could barely even upload at all. That's why you saw me upload like 9 days ago, and I just want to say I'm really sorry for that because I can't control what I have to do, because I'm still living in a household. I can't just control what I want to do all the time, but even though I wanted to upload this video because the actual purpose for this is because when people watch my Russian alphabet, I just think that some of them may not understand why I make them. And so this video is just going to show you what they actually sound like and how to write them, because some people might think it's just made up and some people actually know it's actually a real alphabet, because some people in this world just think that, but I obviously don't mean it all on you. I'm just saying like on some people. But even though I'll write down the first letter, and also a disclaimer, you know how our alphabet has 25 letters, I think. Yeah, 25 or 26. You know how our alphabet has 25 letters? This one actually has 32 or 34. I forgot what number, but I just know it was in the 30s. But here's the first one. I know it may look like an A, but it's actually not an A. I mean, it has the same exact kind of expression as an A, but even though it's not the same exact way an A is pronounced, it's actually pronounced ah. Like in Arabic as well, I think. But in the word ah, like basically like AWE, that could also match the sound as well. And if you tried matching the sound with that, I think that it would sound pretty cool. And just give it a try. I think it might sound really cool. This next letter is supposed to be the one called B. Basically the B, but instead in the Russian form. And I don't know, don't get me wrong, it looks kind of like a music note. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of does, but like a music note with like a backwards hinge. But even though I'm not the one who created these letters, someone must have did. But we don't know that because we don't know who made the letters. Oh, shoot. But even though this letter may seem like an actual B to some people, it actually isn't. This is not how a English B would look like in the actual alphabet. And if it even was to, then that'll be pretty weird because of how it would be pronounced as. Because due to the B sound, they'll think that it's just an accent of the original, soft B sound. And now the next one may actually look like an actual B from the actual English alphabet, even though it actually is not a B. It's called V. Yeah, you don't get me wrong, it does kind of sound like a V, like a straight up V. Sounds like a V sound. But even though it actually may look like a B, it actually is not a B. It's called V. This next letter may look kind of unique to some people, but this letter is called G. Due to its appearance, it may look kind of similar to like a part of a square. But don't get that. But please do not mess that up in geometry, because just in case if you're in like a geometry class and you accidentally write this down, and if your teacher may think it might be a part of a shape, and you just wrote down a Russian letter because you might speak Russian, just try your best not to, accidentally like mess up with that. And that letter is pronounced G once again. Next letter is also pronounced D. Supposed to be the Russian D. And now this letter, don't get me wrong, this letter kind of does look kind of weird, but even though at the same time we don't know who made these letters, it's just a theory that someone in this world actually made these letters and is now being used until this day. Or it could just already be something that someone found on something that we do not have a notice of, because due to the fact that we don't know who could have created them or not. That was the most terrible looking leg ever. Okay, fix that up. Fix it yeah, good as new. This next letter may look like an actual E, but it actually is not a E. It's pronounced yeah. And due to this letter called yeah, some people may find it as like an actual, like, English E. Even though for most common users, they may think that you're kind of dumb. But even though I already know you guys aren't dumb because, I have trust in y'all. I have faith in y'all. I know y'all can find out stuff because you guys are the best. And I appreciate having you guys around. And during this time when I'm writing this down, this next letter may look kind of weird. Yeah, I know you're probably wondering why did I copy and paste. Well, you'll find out right now. Because this letter is actually called yo. And it's literally just like the E and the lowercase e, but even though at the same time, they just have like 2 dots on top of their head. Physically, it's what I think. That's what I image it as. I find it as like an E with 2 dots above their head. This next letter is called je. Literally, je. Some people may think it's like used as the J sound in Russian, but even though in reality it actually isn't. It's used for something else. And it may look kind of similar to a snowflake, but even though similar on, it's actually not just a snowflake. It's just a really unique letter. And I kind of like the letter because look at how it looks. It already looks cool just from the way it's built. This next letter called Z. I know you guys may think, oh, that's just a 3. No, it is not a 3. It's literally the Z sound in Russian. And in the Russian alphabet, this is supposed to be used for the Z in English as well, because, well, I'm not saying that the 3 in English is actually like a Z. I'm saying that like in Russian, they use this for a Z sound. And sometimes this may be used for like maybe for numbers in English, just because some people get it mixed up. Even though, please don't get me wrong, it really does look like a 3. This next letter may look like a backwards N, but even though it actually is in reality, it actually is not a backwards N. This one is actually called E, just like an English E, because that's the way you pronounce it. Like say like the English E, but then write this down. It's the exact same sound, E. Yes, you might be wondering why I copy and pasted once again. It's because it's the same letter, but instead it has a macron on top. And this letter is called E crocodile. And this letter called E crocodile, I have no idea what it's used for, but I do know it is a pretty sick letter because just the way it's like just the fact that it has like a twin brother physically, E and E crocodile, like that. Like I can just tell how nice it would be. Hold on a second, I'm trying to find out what the next letter was. Oh yeah, this next letter may seem like an actual English K. It is an English K, but it's not pronounced the same. It's pronounced as K. Basically an English K, but instead with the sound abbreviation K. And when you pronounce that, please don't get messed up, because when you get messed up on that, you could actually really have some major issues of how saying it, because you might think it's like a normal K, or like a normal K with a different pronunciation or something of some sort. But who knows? Maybe you just don't know what the K sound could mean. Neither do me, because I don't really understand either. But even though it is a pretty nice letter, just the same as the English one, K, just like it. This next letter may kind of look like a squarish box, but with a little tail on it, because this letter is actually called L. Yeah, I know, it looks nothing like an L, right? Well, I'm not the one who made the letters, once again. But even though once in a while, this letter will actually be used a couple of times in the Russian, the average Russian words, because of due to how it looks and how its personality could make it. I think it would be really nice for a letter. Hold on a second, try to find the next one. Next letter is actually I know it looks like an English M, because some letters in the Russian alphabet may look like English letters, even though they actually aren't. But this next letter is actually called M. M is probably one of the same exact ones that I could find in the Russian alphabet that actually pronounces the exact same as in the English one. Because M is actually one of the ones I finally found in one of the different alphabets that actually pronounce the same thing as ours. Because M is just like a normal M, used for the M sound, used for everything that has M-related stuff. This next letter may look like an H, but it actually isn't an H. It's called N. And yes, it does not look like an N at all. But even though, at the same time, when you pronounce this letter, it may look kind of weird. But even though at the same time, this letter can be used for many different varieties. I suck at saying that word for some reason. Oh my god. But even at the same time, this letter is used in a lot of common places. Because some people like to make N-words, not that type of N-word. Please do not take that out of context. I don't mean that N-word. I'm talking about the other type of words, like words that start with N, not like the N-word, please. But still, N may not look like an N, but it's actually pronounced as N because just the way it looks, it looks like a little H, but even though at the same time it's pronounced N. This next letter is literally an O, because when you pronounce it, it's literally just pronounced O. And I like how it's pronounced O because you know how some people would claim that that's their letter and yeah, this and that, the third. Well, you do know that O could be used everywhere. And some people would use it for their own alphabet as well. Because, you know, it's really cool. They also use it in geometry. No one knows how to use it in geometry. Well, my answer, not solved. Because I do not know. And throughout there and on, O could actually be used in a couple of alphabets. I think I found an O in like 2 alphabets. This one was like the first one I found it in. Next is the same exact one that looks like this, but it looks a lot different. It's actually pronounced P. I know it does not even look like a P at all, because some people pronounce it as like an actual like English P. But even though at the same time it's actually not English P, it just sounds like it. But even though in reality it actually does not sound like it. Actually does not. It's actually not what you think it is at all. And sooner or later, when you recognize it, you're good. You know exactly what you're doing. This next letter may look like an English P, but it actually isn't. It's actually not an English P. It's pronounced air. I know it may sound like I'm saying the word air, meaning an oxygen, but no, it's actually the way you're supposed to say it, air. I know it may sound weird, but even though I was not the one who created the letters, it's literally the same exact letters as RP, but even though at the same time it's actually not the same exact P. It's literally pronounced as a different way. So that claims it right there that it's not the same exact P. It's a whole different variety, and it's also a lot different. This next letter may look like an English like C, but it actually is not a C. It's called S. This is supposed to be the Russian S. Basically, in English with the S sound that we know, where it's like this, but in Russian it's like this because that's how we think it is. And in the actual Russian alphabet, it actually is just like that. But even though at the same time, some people might confuse that as an actual C, but even though at the same time, it actually is not a C, because as soon as you find out and recognize it for a while, you'll actually notice that it's actually just a C. But even at the same time, you may think it's a C, but it's actually not. It's pronounced S. This next letter I know I said this multiple times in a video, and I'm very sorry, but this next letter is actually just like an English letter. It's pronounced te. It's just like the English T, but instead, like just like the way it would be pronounced in the other way, where it's like te, te te te, te 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 te, like that kind of. Because when you find that out, and you start to find out why it's pronounced like that, you might have a lot of concerns. And when I saw it, I thought it was just a normal T. I was wrong. It was actually just a lowercase little t. And at the same time, I just noticed it. Not just noticed it, I meant like I literally just noticed it when I first saw into the thing that it was pronounced te, not T, because I thought it was pronounced T, but until I listened to the alphabet of it, that's when I was like, oh, it's not pronounced T, it's pronounced te. This next letter may look like a lowercase y, but a lot bigger. It's actually pronounced U. This is supposed to be the Russian U in the language. It's supposed to be the Russian U. I know it may look like a whole entire lowercase y, but even at the same time, it's actually not a lowercase y. It's just like it, but instead like a lot bigger. And I can find out why people confuse this, because due to the fact that the Y shape gives it out. This next letter is called F. Even though it may not look like an F at all, it is pronounced F, because due to the way the creator thought of it, they thought of it as being called F. So that's why I believe it's pronounced F now, because due to the fact that the creator found out it was like that. And please stop thinking that I'm the creator of the Russian alphabet, if anyone thinks, because I'm not. I'm literally not. You can look up a video of the Russian alphabet song, and it literally was one that was 13 years ago. But even though at the same time, I wasn't the one who created it, so please don't get confused of that. This next letter is... Sorry, I had an asthma attack right there, but still. This next letter is called Ha. I know it looks just like our English X, but even though at the same time it's actually not English X, it's called Ha. And it's supposed to be pronounced as the H sound. The H sound in Russian, because you know how the H sound goes like instead of H. It's actually pronounced ha, like that, ha. And some people will confuse this as an X because of due to the fact that it looks just like an English uppercase and lowercase X, even though due to the fact it's actually not. It's completely different. This next letter is pretty weird, not gonna lie. But this next letter is called Tse. Tse is actually supposed to be some sort of letter that some people came up with because they thought that, oh, it would work pretty well with the Russian alphabet. And my agreement would be yes, it actually really does. Because I just really like how it sounds. It just like how the way it's pronounced. It just sounds, love it. Just sounds nice. And that's what Tse looks like. And when you write this letter, please don't make it please don't try. Just try your best not to make it look like a 4, because some people gets confused of that as a 4. I do not know how, but however they do, they probably just think it's a letter or a number. This next letter looks like a lowercase h, but instead upside down. This letter is called Ch. And with this letter is actually supposed to make the ch sound, which you can kind of hear in the beginning, where it goes ch, like that. And when you hear that sound, please don't get it confused with a lowercase h, because look, flip it over, looks like a lowercase h, but then flip it back, does not look like it at all. I know some people may make it confused of this as a lowercase h, but even though in the meantime it's actually not a lowercase h, it's just the way it's probably made may look like it, even though in the meantime it actually is not a lowercase h. A lot of people actually get really confused with this as a lowercase h, because some children may draw this like this, and maybe they'll think it's a lowercase h, but then they don't realize that they actually drew a Russian letter. This next letter is called sh. Basically, this letter is just like an E, but instead flipped over, physically like this, creating the sh effect. And some people may find this as like something where, you know how in like Hawaii they be like the sha something, they'd be like sha dance or something. I don't know. That's what I heard of, but some people may get confused of it as like that. But even though I don't get confused by it, because due to the fact that I know that it's not going to be like that. And please don't get this confused as like a trident, because a lot of people actually do think it looks like a symbol for a trident or something, because I know how some people are, they think it's a trident or like compared with a different image, they can think it's something like that. And if you take a close look at it, you can pretty much tell on how it is. This next letter is just like this, but instead with a little tail at the very end. The tail at the very end is supposed to make it sound a bit different. So you know how you just heard it say sha, right? Like sha. But this one is actually called sha. If you listen very closely, you can hear a little difference, because due to the fact that it's called sha, you can kind of hear the little difference, because the little difference you can kind of hear is just the part where it goes like sh. Do you hear the difference now? Because I feel like I just gave it away. But even though you guys should probably notice it now, because to the fact that I showed y'all, or also pronounced it for y'all. This next letter looks just like that letter, but instead a little bit different. The letter is actually supposed to be called Diriantesnak. And when you pronounce this letter, it's kind of weird. I know. I get how it sounds weird and all, but even though at the same time, it's not supposed to be pronounced as Diriantesnak. It's supposed to be pronounced as Diriantesnak. Or you guys could say Diriantesnak, but I don't care how y'all pronounce it. It's y'all's way of saying it, not mine. I can't control it. You guys can say it however y'all want. And this letter is supposed to be used for the quotation marks. Or no, not quotation marks in like confused. I meant what was those called again? It's the symbol where it's like this. For some reason they're like used for like the symbol that's like that. Because I don't know why it's used for that. But even at the same time, I can just imagine them writing a sentence and then putting that at like the very top corner. Because just imagine hearing that sound every single time. Because then that would really sound weird, because due to the fact of how it sounds and how it looks. Because I can just imagine how the Diriantesnak would be replaced as something else in the thing. This next letter is supposed to be pronounced as BA or BUE. Because some people may find it sounding like BA or BUE. It's actually pronounced as BA. Because when I read it, the pronunciation, I found it saying BUE. Some people might call it BA, even though this letter may look kind of weirdish, because this letter actually is it looks just like a B with a I, right? No, It's actually completely different. It does not look just like that. It kind of looks like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of this IP, like an IP address. Because I have an IP address, which I'm not gonna say because due to flipping hackers. I know you guys out there on YouTube, you guys try to make people say their IP address so you can go in there and kill them. I know y'all. Flipping know y'all. Don't even try. This next letter is called Miyakisnak. This letter is actually really simple because if you say it multiple times enough, you'll start to get comfortable with how it sounds. And when you say it, you have to be like Mia. You can go like Kez or keys. I like doing keys, so Mia, keys, knock, like that. So you have to say it like Mia keys knock, Mia kiss knock, Mia kiss knock, Mia keys knock. This next letter looks kind of similar to one of the letters I saw in a different alphabet. This letter is called Aya. This letter called Aya is supposed to be kind of weirdish, but even at the same time, some people may get really confused off of this letter for maybe of it looking kind of similar to something else. Could be similar to looking like something someone saw in a movie or something that someone saw in a different daily basis. Because some people really do have the courage of finding out connections of different things, like I do sometimes. Well, not really sometimes, because I normally do it all the time. This next letter is called U. I know you guys may be thinking, how come the uppercase Y looking thing or lowercase y looking thing wasn't the U? How come that was the U sound, even though this is the U sound? Well, this sound is actually not the U sound. I mean, it's not actually the U, like for translation in the actual English alphabet, because translation for this is supposed to be a J and a U. Now, it sounds weird, but it's actually what it said, because when I read it, said that. It said supposed to be read like that. And I can't control it because I'm not the one who made it. Once again. This next letter is supposed to be called Ya. Basically, the way you say it, it's just like the U, where it has a J-U or A-U or E-U, however you want to compare it as. But this letter is supposed to be a backwards R physically. Because when you write this out, I know, it may look just like an R. But even though at the same time, when you flip it around, that's how it's supposed to be written as. Because a Ya, like this, it's supposed to be written just like that, like a backwards R. And this is supposed to be the last alphabet, or last letter of the Russian alphabet in history. And there could be some changes in the alphabet, but who knows. So there you go. That's how you write the Russian alphabet. And if you guys want, I can go over them again and have you guys listen again on how it will be. If you don't want that to happen, then click off the video right now. So this one we do. Ah. This is ah. Be. This is be. Ve. This is ve. Ge. This is ge. De. This is de. Ye. This is ye. Yo. This is yo. Je. This is je. Ze. This is ze. E. This is e. E crocodile. This is e crocodile. Ka. This is ka. L. This is L. M. This is M. N. This is N. O. This is O. Pe. This is pe. Air. This is air. S. This is S. Te. This is te. U. This is U. F. This is F. Ha. This is ha. Tse. This is se. Che. This is che. Sha. This is sha. Sha. This is sha. I diantesnak. This is diantesnak. Biei. This is biei. Miakisnak. This is miakisnak. Ea. This is ea. You. This is you. Ya. This is ya. That's the Russian alphabet. Hope you have a great day. And goodbye. Tune in next week.